Right, this will be a mountain math video for 7th grade. We're on week 29. I'm going to try this one a little bit differently and see how this goes. I hopefully will be able to edit this video and put in timestamps on the bottom and maybe I think they're called chapters, so that you can jump to each question up from 1 through 20. That's my plan. If that doesn't work out, then sorry, I just told you I'd be able to do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through each of these questions on this one page in this one video. And we're towards the end of the school year, so I'm probably not going to provide you with very many full solutions. So let's check out number 1 here. Number 1 is three rational numbers, not integers because we have decimals. We have 3 numbers here, 2 of which are negative, and we need to multiply these. Anytime parentheses are touching, you need to multiply. So just multiply those 3 numbers. You should get a positive number because 2 negatives cancel out and make positive. Number 2 is a division problem. There's a couple ways you could do this. You could draw 4 1/5 and find out how many 1 2/5 fit into it. You'd have to break one of the holes into 5/5. But you are going to get a whole number for this problem. So the other thing you can do is you could do 4 times 5 and then add 1. So this left side, 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1 is 21/5. And then you can divide that by 1 times 5 is 5 plus 2 is 7/5. Because 1 is 5/5 plus 2 more is 6/7. So you could tell me how many 7/5 are in 21/5. And if you don't understand just how to solve that one, well, you can keep that fraction, change this to multiplication, flip this fraction to its inverse, to its reciprocal. You'll have diagonals, double diagonals, and you'll get a nice, good answer. Number 3, you have 2x plus 1 is less than 5. So first thing to do is get rid of this 1. So you'll subtract 1 from both sides. Subtract 1, cross the 1's off, subtract 1, change that 5 to a 4. Then you have 2x is less than 4, divide by 2, and then on your number line, whatever that answer is, make sure you have an open circle because it cannot equal that answer. It's just less than that answer. So open circle on the number line at your solution, and then shade all the left side of the number line because it's any number less than that number. So on your number line, you just need to color the left side. For number 4, we have 5/11. We need to change this to a fraction, or from a fraction to a decimal and to a percent. So 5/11 to a decimal, you need to divide the numerator by the denominator. And then to go to a percent, you multiply that by 100. As a reminder, if you get something that's repeating, so for example, if it's like 0.616161 over and over and over again, you will write this like this, 0.61 with a line over the top of both numbers, because that would be repeating. That is not the answer to number 4, so don't write that for number 4. You need to divide yourself. 5 divided by 11. Number 5, we need to worry about order of operations here. We need to make sure we do multiplication before we do a division. We have 2 parts where we have multiplication. Parentheses show multiplication if there's a number touching it. And the dot here in the middle of these 2 numbers is not a decimal. It is multiplication because it's a little higher than a decimal. So we need to multiply these 2 integers, and then add them together. You got 1 negative in both of these, so you should have a negative plus a negative. You should have a large negative number. Number 6, a cafeteria has seats for 276 students. How many tables are there if 12 students sit at each table? So the word each here is key. That means we're going to divide this among 12 students for each table, because each table has 12 people. So you take the first table and you're going to be at 264. Another table is 252, and you're taking 12 people away, 12 people away, 12 people away. How many times can we take 12 people away from 276? And if it's not a nice even number, you're going to need an extra table. Number 7, we're going to combine like terms. We have two terms that include an x. We can add these together. So you're going to need to do 5/8 plus 1/2. Well, in order to do that, you're going to have to change a half to eighths. So you have a common denominator. So this is how many eighths? Well, that'd be 4/8 x. So now we have 9/8 x, because 5 plus 4 is 9. That's okay. We don't need to change this to a mixed number. In fact, as we get into high school, improper fractions are going to be fine. So 9/8, you could still say 1 1/8, but this is 9/8 x. You need to combine the second term. You have negative 1/4 y and 3/4 y. Your answer is going to have two terms, one of them that has an x, one of them that has a y. Number 8, we need to solve this inequality just like we did on number 3. We need to first add 10 to both sides. So we're going to have negative 5x is greater than 35. So when we have negative 5x is greater than 35, the next thing to do is divide by negative 5. Divide by negative 5, we get x. And since we divided by a negative, I'm going to cover this in a lesson probably this week. So I'm just going to state, when we divide by a negative, we need to do the opposite sign. So it'll be is less than negative 7. I will explain that in a lesson in chapter, I think it's chapter 7. We're going to cover it. I'll cover why that changed, but just for now, we get x is less than negative 7. Number 9, we know that all three of these angles add up to 180 degrees. So you need to set up an equation. 9x plus 10 plus 5x plus 30 equals 180. And when you set that up, you'll have two x terms you can combine. You'll have two constant terms that you can combine. And then you solve it just like we solved number 8 or number 3. First, get rid of the integer by subtracting 40 from both sides. And then you're going to divide that by 9 plus 5 is 14, so you have 14x. You're going to divide by 14. Number 10, we need to set up a proportion. We know that 21 feet is 2 1/3 pounds. Packages. PK. So we want to find out what one package is. So in order to get from here to here, you got to divide by 2 1/3. So we need to divide 21 by 2 1/3. There's a couple ways we can do that. At this point, we probably know that's 0.333333. So you can divide by 2.333 and type a bunch of threes. 3 if you're using a calculator. Or you could do like we did on number 2, where we change it to an improper fraction and we do keep, change, flip. Either way. Number 11, we need to figure out a scale factor. Means what did we multiply by? So 0.75 times something equals 3. Figure out what that is by using an inverse operation. In other words, we have 0.75 x equals 3. Get rid of that 0.75. This is multiplication. You need to divide. Number 12, a basketball normally costs $36. It is marked down 12.5%. First, we need to figure out what 12.5% of $36 is. And then you need to subtract that because it's a mark down. Subtract that from 36 and find out how much it costs now. Number 13, Gio walked 4 evenings last week. Monday, he walked this far. Wednesday, he walked this far. Thursday, he walked this far. And Saturday, he walked this far. How far did she walk? Well, if we're going to find out how far total she walked, we have to add all of these. And in order to add all of these, we're going to need a common denominator. And that common denominator in this problem, we have 4, 2, 3, and 12. That common denominator is 12. You need to change all of these to 12s. So just to help you out, 3/4 is going to equal times 3 is 9 twelfths. So I started the first one for you. You got to do the next two, and that one's already twelfths. Number 14, is this a proportional relationship? Does this go through the origin? And is it a straight line? Well, those are both true. So now we need to find the constant. When we go 1x, how many y's do we go? We go up 3. That's the constant. Because the next one would be at 2, and we'd go up to 6. So that would be up 3 again. Number 15, we need to find the area of this trapezoid. Two things you can do. You can do the formula for area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height, where you're going to add base 1 and base 2 times the height, and then cut that number in half. Or you could decide, oh, that's a rectangle and there's a triangle on the end, and you could do a little subtraction to figure out the length here to here of this triangle, and then you'll have two different 2D shapes. You'll have a rectangle and a triangle. You find the area of both of those, and you can add that. I think if I give you the formula here, I bet you could probably figure out the area of this trapezoid. Number 16, we have a circle. We need to find the area, and they tell us the circumference. Circumference equals pi times d, or 2 times pi times the radius, because the diameter is 2 over radius. So if the circumference is 2 times pi times radius, and they tell us the circumference is 50.24 equals 2 pi r. Remember, for area, you're going to do pi r squared, or pi times r. So in order to solve for r, we need to divide this by 2 pi, divide by 2 pi. In other words, divide by 2, and then divide by 3.14. Then you'll have the radius, because those go away, and you're going to take that radius number that you got here, you're going to multiply it by itself and by pi, and you'll get the area. Number 17, is this a triangle? This is one of those where we got to visualize it. We've got to think, here's a 40 millimeter, here's a 10 millimeter, and here's a 25 millimeter. And this is one of those where it's not going to work, because if this is going to go down and this is going to go down, we're going to only be a total of 35 millimeters on the top here. Well, it's got to have 5 more millimeters for this to fit. And it has to be even more than that for it to be a triangle. Because if this was 35, and this was, if this was 30 and 10, well, they're going to come down and they're going to meet perfectly right at that 40. But it's got to be a little bit more than that. So this does not work. 17, you need to explain if it's not possible. Well, this isn't possible because these two short sides are not long enough. They're not longer than our long side. Number 18, we have first period's test scores, and we have fifth period's test scores. Make an inference. Tell me which class usually gets better scores. Number 19, what is the probability of a pink shirt? And there is a white shirt here. So what is the probability of a pink shirt? That's going to be the pink shirts divided by all shirts. Be careful. These are pants. You can ignore those. So how many pink shirts are there and how many all shirts are there? Number 20, if a two-person tent is shown below, the zipper is 4 feet long. If the width of the front of the tent is, so we have a triangle here. If the width is 5.5 feet, and the zipper here is 4 feet, what is the area of the end of the tent? Just the end here. What is the area of this base? Well, area of a triangle is pi. No, it's not. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So do a half, or 0.5, times its base times its height, and you'll have the area of the end of the tent. Hopefully that wasn't too crazy and too confusing. I wanted to try out a new style of videos, and we'll see how that goes. I think it was a little shorter amount of time, and we'll see. I don't plan on making individual videos this week though, so Work with what you got. Let me know if you have any questions.